How many Eskimos can you fit into a kayak? Okay, I'm not telling some dirty joke. The answer is 5. Hello again, it's me, Justin, for 1001 Movie Reviews You Must See Before You Die. Tonight I will be reviewing Nanook of the North from 1922, directed by Robert J. Flaherty. Many people consider this to be the first ever documentary. I know I've already heard from one person commenting on my review of Dr. Mabuza, claiming that Nanook of the North is not the first ever documentary movie, although he didn't give me any information as to what is the first documentary movie ever. Anyway, I'm not here to debate what the first ever documentary movie is. I'm here to talk about Nanook of the North. First off, there was a whole disclaimer at the beginning talking about how difficult this movie was, about how the negative of the when they had completed the movie, the negative caught fire and was totally destroyed. Their ship that they used to get around around up in the Arctic, that sank. But the saddest one of them all is the fact that Nanook, the Eskimo, the father of the family of Eskimos that is portrayed in this movie, died. I mean, that's really sad when you think about it. It's like, you spend all this time filming the guy and he dies. It's just, one of those sad little things, I guess, from movies. So anyway, moving on. First thing I noticed is there's a title card that claims that Nanook killed 7 polar bears with just a harpoon, and it got me thinking. Well, where's the video evidence of this? And then I started being like one of those nitpicky critics, saying, they didn't film it, so it's not real. He didn't kill those 7 polar bears. I'm sure the crew probably helped him kill those 7 polar bears. You see the skins of the polar bears, obviously, but you don't see the actual killing of the 7 polar bears. But, I really could care less if they filmed it or not. To kill 7 polar bears with a harpoon, that's just badass. That's awesome. You don't see Bear Grylls of Man vs. Wild or Survivor Man killing a polar bear with just a harpoon. That would make for some great TV. They should really, be like Nanook and kill a polar bear with just a harpoon. Anyway, there's a scene where Nanook's taking his hides in from all the hunting he's done over the winter to a trader farther down away from the Arctic. And there's a scene where they're playing a record player, and it got me. And you could see how Nanook was enjoying seeing this record player, and you see him laughing with his family, and they can't get over this great thing. And it got me to thinking it must have been so amazing for those Eskimos to see something that was something that was totally new, and it just must have been mind blowing for them to see a record player. And you think of that in today's terms, if you were to go see the Eskimos now, you have to think how much things have changed. Do Eskimos have iPods now? It's a really good question to think how far the Eskimos have come in the last 100 years or so, almost 100 years since this movie was made. Do they have iPods now? How things changed? You look back then, it was just that was just something that must have been so mind blowing for these Eskimos. Anyway, there's a little shot of his kids eating sea biscuits and lard, and all I've got to say on that regard is yuck. Sea biscuits and lard. I eat sushi for gosh sakes, but sea biscuits and lard, that's something that I don't even think. I'm a very adventurous person when it comes to food, but I don't even think I would try that. That just sounds totally disgusting to me. Sea biscuits and lard, yuck. I caught a blooper, being a nitpicky moviegoer, which I can't stand, but I had to bring it up, and because it's a documentary, and you think, there's a guy in the background, and there was, Nanook's jumping from ice floe to blocks of ice, in this whole ice floe that's moving along, and he's going to the fishing grounds, and you can see a guy running around in the background, and like, I started thinking, oh well, this was shot on a soundstage, this isn't real. I mean, that Nanook's just being portrayed by an actor. But I got to thinking, it's probably just another Eskimo, and like, I mean, Flaherty had enough trouble as it is, getting this movie just made. So like, I really don't think he was trying to be totally technically perfect when it came to like, people in the background and stuff like that. So anyway, moving on, there's a really cool moment that got me to thinking once again of Man vs. Wild, where Nanook, he bites the heads of he bites the fish that he catches to kill them, and it got me thinking of the shot in Man vs. Wild where Bear Grylls, he does the same thing to kill the fish, and then he eats his fish. But it got me thinking, like, Bear Grylls just did that for survival, and like Nanook did it because it's a way of life. I mean, it's just kind of, it was just a funny little kind of moment to think of, like, oh, like, well, Bear was just doing that for survival's sake, and probably for ratings, because oh, people are going to talk. Oh, look, Bear bit the head off a salmon. I mean, so like you think now, no, there are people that live this way and actually do this like as a lifestyle. And anyway, moving on, there's this really cool shot where after Nanook's killed and gutted a walrus, he licks the blood off of the knife that he was using, and I just thought, oh, that's like the image of him doing that, which just to me is just so badass. I mean, I'm sure all those PETA people were probably thinking, oh, that's horrible, that's terrible, this movie is horrible. Well, you can rest assured that all the people that are involved with this movie are now dead and in hell. So, you PETA people that get offended for this kind of stuff. Anyway, moving on. Moving back to the whole Man vs. Wild issue that I had when watching this movie. There's a scene where Nanook builds an igloo, like a huge igloo, and like it got me thinking once again of Bear Grylls. Why doesn't Bear Grylls do that? I mean, come on, he builds these crappy little lean-tos out of like a couple sticks and some branches, and he covers up to cover up his shelter, and like you see Nanook building like a freaking house out of ice blocks, and like you think, oh, I'd love to see Bear Grylls do that. I mean, come on. Anyway, moving on. There's this comical little shot where Nanook's teaching his son how to use a bow and arrow, and I was half expecting a title, and like you see the kid actually shoot the arrow, and like I was expecting like a title card to pop up. Unfortunately, and apparently, like father like son, the kid is a crack shot because he ended up killing one of our cameramen that was standing off shot. And like it got me laughing to think of like a title card like that popping up. Anyway, moving on, there's a scene where Nanook's trying to haul up a seal when he's ice fishing for seals. And like it's really comical and very slapstick looking, and like it got me thinking of like Buster Keaton movies where and like it takes him forever, and like he keeps falling down, and like and of course in this situation it's real, and like I got to thinking of like Buster Keaton doing that, and like spending like falling down head over heels in the slapstick sense, and like then he pulls it up, and like Buster Keaton in like a Buster Keaton movie, he'd pull it up and it would just be a little minnow hanging off of the end of the line, and then of course Buster Keaton would do that classic face that he gives every time something bad would happen to him.